All right, we back. Let's bring it on home. Last stretch. Hello.
Hi.
Let's talk about some fantasy, yeah?
Oh, God.
Yeah, we can talk about fantasy. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, let's talk about yours first, then. Let's talk about what ended up happening with your team,
Okay.
Commissioner Andrew,
My team?
or your league.
Okay, so last week I had talked about an issue that my league faced in regards to intentionally sitting players to take a knee on a lead to protect a lead. I talked to this guy who benched the New England Patriots with a 13-point lead against another player who happens to be like a kid, and he there was some controversy that was stirred over that. Initially, I wanted to dock him, some points for sitting on a lead that he didn't need to sit on in order to prove a point or something like that. And I went and I asked him about it. Just straight up, I was like, okay, explain yourself. His answer was that he was at a bar with some friends that he'd been drinking, and he just misread the score briefly and said he thought it was a 2-point lead, or a 3-point lead and not a 13-point lead.
I see.
In that situation, I understand. Overall, I discussed it with a couple of other owners, and we kind of determined that he did not break any rules that are in place.
Sure.
There are no rules for setting, for not fielding complete lineups. So I think he really just violated an unwritten code that's there for fantasy football.
Right.
So I think what I'm going to do is next season invoke some rules that require that you field a competitive team. There's no kneeling. There will be penalties for kneeling on a ball, So I think that's the more honorable thing to do, is just kind of let it go and make changes for next year. However, he did receive his comeuppance because guess what? He lost this past weekend.
Woo!
So the undefeated guy who did all this controversial stuff lost over the weekend.
Love it.
It was great.
Love to see it.
I was watching with the player who beat him on Sunday night as we watched the Cowboys lose to the Minnesota Vikings. However, this player had Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper, both of whom had huge games.
Absolutely.
She needed 29 points in order to break even over this guy. She ended up with 47.
Yes, ma'am.
Between those two players.
Yes, ma'am.
So the undefeated player has gone down. And so I think it's a great little storybook ending.
Of course.
My team, on the other hand, also won over the weekend, thanks in part to future MVP Lamar Jackson, who had a league high 33 points. It was great. I also started 2 tight ends this weekend, which I've never done before.
And that's interesting because I do that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I started Hunter Henry in my tight end position, and then Austin Hooper, who's been my go-to tight end, as my flex. And together they came up with 16.7 points.
Not bad.
So we're pretty happy about that. I also started Ronald Jones, who I picked up off the free agent wire.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Since he became the Tampa Bay starting running back. Tampa Bay beat Arizona over the weekend. Tampa Bay is subtly not terrible. Mm-hmm. Bruce Arians is a good head coach.
No, I know.
And I don't know why people don't appreciate him enough. So I hold the second best record in the league now. I'm sitting at 7-3. Not going to win my division because I got to play the guy the formerly undefeated guy next week. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting pretty. I'm at 7-3. I like my chances right now.
Hey, not too shabby.
I think all I've got to do is win 1 or 2 more games, and I've clinched I punched my ticket to the postseason.
Right.
So I feel good about that.
That's perfect.
Let's talk about you.
Oh God. All right. Well, we're gonna focus on one of my leagues.
Which one?
We're gonna do Fordham. My undergraduate theater crew Fordham League, which I was not invited to participate in until after I graduated, but whatever. Anyways.
Isn't that fun?
Not bitter. So I won this week.
Did you?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So I was texting you. It's funny because I usually don't ask you for fantasy advice, but I was really...
I know not to ask you for fantasy advice now.
Yeah, because I tend to put people in pickles, but yes. At least this year. It's not been my year, as we know, but I was in quite a quandary. My running back depth is not strong enough or my tight end depth for that matter, to have played either of those positions in my flex, whereas my wideout depth is pretty strong. So I had to decide. Here are the wideouts that I was considering playing, and I could only play 3. I had Michael Thomas, Michael Gallup, Christian Kirk, and Darius Slayton. So my argument for Darius Slayton was the Giants being the Giants, and also with Sterling Shepard being out.
Right.
He's probably, I mean, he's had a couple of pretty good weeks with Sterling Shepard out, and I figured he would do some damage. He did, but I did not play him.
Gotcha.
So, Darius Slayton put up 24.1 points for me yesterday.
Yes.
Our scoring is a little bit different than yours is, but
you played PPR, if I'm not mistaken.
yes.
Okay.
And I saw that happening, and I was very upset. I did some yelling, and then I turned off the game, and then I turned it back on. But I turned it back on once I realized that I was okay, because I ended up playing Christian Kirk, Michael Gallup, and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas I knew I was going to play.
Yes, of course.
That was an easy choice. Obviously, you know, they lost on Sunday, but it was a good choice. Michael Gallup and Christian Kirk were kind of the ones that were up in the air. And Christian Kirk, obviously being the Arizona wide receiver, is a good choice in theory, but has really been kind of a wild card.
Yeah, feast or famine. We talked about this. You said you texted me. I told you that Kirk was the wild card.
Yeah.
Kirk was like playing the lottery.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either going to get nothing or you're going to get everything. And
boom or bust.
Luckily, you got everything.
I got everything.
The dude had 3 touchdowns over the weekend. This is, pretty good.
31.8 points, not bad. And Michael Gallup did not disappoint either, 13.6 points. So, walking out of Sunday, I had 86.3, and my teammate had 89, and my teammate was done, and I still had Russell Wilson to play.
There you go.
So,
and Russell Wilson was Russell Wilson.
Of course. So, naturally, by the end of the night Sunday, I was pretty convinced that even though I was a couple points under, obviously, that I was going to win, and that felt really good. Now, of course, looking into the league as a whole,
not so much. And I've seen these standings, and you were like, yeah, I'm doing pretty well. And then I looked over the standings, and you're in last place, not just in record, but also in points scored.
Okay.
You are statistically the worst team in your league.
I know, and it's so funny, though, because, So our commissioner, just much the same as you do, sends out weekly email recaps, and started the recap last week with everyone, not even Kim, everyone is still in contention for a wild card. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna play for that wild card this week.
Hell yeah.
And I got a win, which is great. Brings my record to 4-6.
Love that. All right, 4-6, 2 games under 500. Your division leader is 8-1, so you have no shot at that division.
Oh yeah, Tony is a monster.
I have a great playoff calculator that I use to determine all my playoff scenarios. So basically, what it does is I enter my league information in the page, and it automatically uploads my ESPN league.
Oh, cool.
And what I can do is I can simulate the winners of each game. And I can figure out who is still likely in for the playoffs.
You're such a geek.
I am. I've found scenarios where both last place teams can actually still make the playoffs with losing records. It's pretty fun.
Look, anything's possible.
It's true. I also want to point out that this week, I realized something fun. My top 5 draft picks, none of them were in my starting lineup.
Wow.
This week. James Conner, hurt. Odell Beckham Jr., terrible. T.Y. Hilton, hurt. Who's my 4th? Devontae Freeman, terrible. David Montgomery, not on my team. None of those 5 played for me this week.
That's right. You dropped David Montgomery. That's right.
So, I don't know. It's just I said that my league would be won in the later rounds. And I think so far it's being won in the later rounds. Yeah. I think I picked Lamar Jackson in the 11th or 12th round. He was going to be... it's crazy. Lamar Jackson was slated to be my backup quarterback. And then Andrew Luck retired, and he just kind of stumbled into the MVP race.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive, truly. I'm very thankful to have the players that I've had and the success that I've had, and I chalk it up to many years of watching, too many years of watching SportsCenter and too many years watching football to attribute my success.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
I love it. Do you have a tip of the week?
My tip of the week. Oh, God. We had another team drop a high-profile player at the start of the week and get picked up by a really good team. We had one team drop Adam Thielen.
Oh.
Yeah. On Wednesday, and he was picked up by formerly undefeated guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah,
he won't be playing for 2 weeks, but when he comes back, it might be a problem.
Yeah.
So, again, my tip of the week last week was to drop your high-profile players. later in the week so that people can't play them on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
My tip of the week is don't be afraid to switch up your flex formations.
Yeah.
I started 2 tight ends this week, and it really paid off. If you have one tight end that's projected to be really good, but you have another tight end that's like your homeboy and like has been putting up good points for you, don't be afraid to play them both. You know, especially if you have room for a second tight end. Don't be afraid to do it. Tight ends can get you points as well as running backs and wide receivers can.
100%. I totally agree. Definitely underrated.
Your threshold of points should be 93. You want to always shoot for 93 points because that's like the average margin of like victory line. Mm-hmm. So however you can get there somehow. If you switch your flex formations around, don't be afraid to do that. Especially if it's like playoff time. So don't be afraid to try to make a push in any way that you can. And you gotta make gambles at this point in the year if you're still struggling.
Go with your gut. If you've got an instinct about a guy and you think like, it hasn't really been great in the last couple of weeks, but maybe it's due time for a boom week. Definitely, give it a go.
Yeah, projection numbers are just that. They're just projections.
Exactly. And most of the time they're wrong.
Yeah, play to your gut. Play your matchups.
Yep.
If you like one team over the other, just do it.
Yep.
Don't be afraid of what the numbers say. I think I intentionally changed my lineup around, and my projection was lower than the league. But, Sunday happened, and, it swung my way.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to trust your gut and play with some different formations in order to get yourself that boost that you need. So that's my tip for the week for fantasy football.
That's good stuff. All right, kids, we're going to sign off for the night.
Yeah,
but
that's all for me.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got, too. I hope everybody has a great week and gets to pet some dogs. And
Thanksgiving's coming up. It's my favorite holiday.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's right. What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I'm going to be here. My family's coming down. We're going to eat some dinner in Tribeca.
Oh, fun.
They're here for the whole weekend, which would be great.
How cool. You know what? I don't think I've ever gone out to a restaurant on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we did it a couple years ago. It was excellent.
Good.
A place called Harold's in Tribeca. They were amazing. $52 prefix for per person.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was incredible. We're trying a different place this year.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know it's coming up fast, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Along with I've got some birthdays I've got to get ready for. I have to figure out what I'm going to get my dad. His birthday is November 25th.
Right.
That's always a hard one. What do people like? Usually, like the standard like book or puzzle from Barnes and Noble will do the trick, but I don't even know what people get dads.
Yeah, see, my dad is a Notre Dame junkie, much like your boyfriend is.
Yes.
So I just kind of go with things like that. I tried golf stuff until he told me that he doesn't like golf as much as Nick and I do. So.
Not to mention the hard thing with golf stuff. I mean, my father loves golf, but he's very particular about different products and things that he likes.
Which is why I just get him little trinket things that he can use just like in his everyday life, like a practice net or something like that.
I might
or even like ask him like what kind of balls he likes and get him a sleeve of balls or something like that. Even if it's something like symbolic, that means just as much.
Have you seen the like golf the club cover thingies, the little hat thingies that you put on them to protect them?
Hats for bats. Yes,
Thank you. So I saw like an Instagram ad where they can like make one of your dog.
Oh God, it's scary. I
think they're pretty cool.
I think anything that's got like a face of someone that you know or an animal that you know is a bit creepy. Especially if it's like, they morph this realistic looking animal to the shape of a driver head cover. It's a little creepy for me.
I don't know. I was thinking about that, but now that you mention it, and also my dog is dead, which is kind of creepy. And he's like still really getting over it.
Sure.
But anyways, we're getting really dark here. So we should sign off. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to follow us on all of our social media. Our handle is at UFR Vodcast with a V. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. Look out for our recap on Last Word on Sports. Should be out on Thursday or Friday.
Our podcast comes out every Thursdays, everywhere you can find podcasts, except for Spotify. We're not that cool yet. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns or whatever, feel free to send us an email. You can find us at andrewandkata@gmail.com. If you send us an email and we like it, we might read it on the show. And we don't know. So send us an email and you'll find out.
But we've been getting some really crappy emails lately, other than the one today. So up your game, kids.
Yeah, for real.
Come on. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
All right. But other than that, have a great week.
Let's put it to bed, guys. Have a good week. I'm Andrew.
I'm Kata.
This has been Under Further Review. Bye, everybody.
Cheers.